twist around. It's a long strip, so it tends to twist around. So make sure you are straightening it out. You straighten it out when you are working. Hello lovelies, and welcome back to my channel. So we're going to talk about how to make a ball dress, that's a cloud effect ball dress. And I have two samples here that we're going to work with, like as an example. So the one on the left has two colors, while the one on the right has just one color. So bear that in mind. We're going to make reference to that later. Okay, so I don't have a miniature mannequin, so we are working with my thread. So I'm going to use the thread to get my measurements. So where I am measuring right now is going to represent my waist measurement. Okay, so I just piled up the thread so that I have a height. I'm working with a height of 9 inches there, and this is the net we're going to be working with. So I am going to be working with two colors and a plain color. I'm just going to show you guys, illustrate how to go about this. Just a very quick one. So right here, we are going to do some calculations. So the calculations, we're going to look for how to get our radius if you are working with a flay. Yes, you can either work with a flay or a straight net. So if you're working with a flay net that's like a 360-degree net, this is how to go about it. So I'll put down my waist and my length, and also from these waist, we're going to add fullness to it. So your waist measurement, you can multiply by 3, or you can multiply by 4 or 5. You can go as far as 6. Because we're working with a net, you can easily fold it. So I did mine by 3 because I don't have much here. So after multiplying by 3, I got 16.5, and I divided by 6.28, which is radius of a circle, and I have 2.6. So this 2.6 is where we determine where my radius markings should be. Okay, so that 3 inches we added is what creates the fullness for the dress. But if you do not want fullness for your own dress, that you don't want to gather it or pleat it, then you can go ahead and just use your normal waist measurement divided by 6.28 to give you the radius that you'll be working with. So right here, I have folded my net into 4 places. Okay, the net is folded into 4 places, and I made sure I have my length plus my radius. Okay, I have everything as I folded. So the next thing is to mark out that radius that we just looked for. I got 2.6, so that's 2 5/8 of an inch. So that's what you should be marking there, if that's what you have anyway. So I linked up my markings and I went ahead to measure. So if you measure, you should have a close figure, a figure that is very close to what you got from your calculations. So I have 4.25, and if multiply by 4, because we have 4 pieces in fold there, I have 17, which is close to 16.5. So that's the length we're marking. I went from the radius down first to look for the markings, then went all the way up again to find the circle. So you just keep marking so you have something that is equal and accurate. You can see how I keep holding the tape down at the tip to make sure that it does not move. So when I am done, I linked up the lines to create a circle or curve, anything you want to call it. Then it's time to cut. So I cut the down part first, okay, and the upper part. next. So after this, the next thing you're going to do is to cut open, because you're going to be attaching your zipper at the back, so you can cut yours open, but I didn't cut mine open because I am not making a dress right now. So you can see how the flay has turned out to be, and it has this fullness down there, so that when you pleat or you gather the upper part to your waistline, you're going to have a fullness like so. So you can go ahead to work with that circle, or you can make this straight panel, or how do I call it, a straight piece. Yes, let's say it's a straight piece. You can go ahead and work with a straight piece. This time around also, you're going to add fullness. This one is very, very important to add fullness, because you need to have that effect. So I multiplied by 3. You can multiply by 4, you can multiply by 5. So whatever you do, make sure you add enough to give you that fullness, because this is a net, and a net can fold in as much as possible. It can gather together as much as possible. So I am marking the piece out now. So the piece is on fold here, right? Yeah, so this is it. And I have my this is my length, and that was my width. Yeah, so by the time you gather this together, by the time you put it on your waist, you're going to have this kind of a flayed out stuff. But me, I don't have it because I didn't work with much net. I just want to give an illustration here, so I didn't work with much net. So if you multiply by 5, 6, 7, 8, you're going to see that much effect for yours. So when you're done with the base, so those things you just did now is the base of your net. That's the straight panel or the circle panel, whichever. Now we're going to cut the strips. Now to cut the strip, you fold. You can see how I folded. So make sure the folding you did is on the long side, so that by the time you cut, you're going to have a very long strip. So you can mark as much as 4 inches, 5 inches, depending on how full you want your ruffles or your cloud to be. So I want mine to, I'm just doing an illustration, but if it was on a normal dress, I would make it as much as 4 or 5 inches wide. That's wide or long. Okay, whichever. So I am squaring up the lines now. So this is how to go about it, very, very easy. Okay, by the time you fold this way, you can easily cut as much as 100 strips at a time. It won't be tedious for you. So you can see that. So when you unveil it, you're going to have something like that. So you're done with the strips, right? We have our base, that's the foundation. We have the foundation, we have our strip. Now it's time to sew. And for the sewing aspect, the first part you may want, or that will be very easier for you to work with, is to run your gathering thread on the waistline of your base. So whether you're working with a flay base or the straight base of your net, this might actually be the right time to run the thread all around for the gathering effect. So you just run the thread all around, you pull the thread to form the gathers, and so this is to make the work easier, because after attaching all those things later, it may be difficult for you to run the gathering thread. So also, if you have a gather's foot, this is the right time for you to use it on your machine. Right now I don't have for this particular machine, so I'm making use of my hands. You can see what I'm doing. I'm pushing in and gathering. You can see that. So when you get to the end like this, you need to, you have to cut off that strip before cutting your net. I forgot to mention that. So when you're coming to the end like this, you see that you put your net like that, and you keep going. So you don't even need to join your nets together. No, you don't need to join them at all. So So all you just have to do is place it on top and continue. It's a continuous process. The continuous process, like so. Can you see that? So you just have to be careful with your hands so they don't get into the needle. So I kept going on a normal pace. Okay, so here I slowed down the video to actually show you this is the normal pace I was working with. This is the normal pace I'm working with. So I just placed my net on it like so, and I run my pedal while my hands do the gathering. So it just keeps going that way. Can you see that? It's not quite difficult, but if you have a gather's foot, this is the best time to love that tool. Like, it will just keep doing the work for you. All you just have to do is control it. That's all. That's control your fabric. That's the net. So at this point, we are done with our frills that are stripped for the cloud effect. Now, if you're working on the circle, this is the time to sew on it. So if you're working with a circle base, this is the time. So you're going to place it on the tips like this. Now, to have more cloud or gathered effect, you place 2 or 3. You can do as much as 2 or 3 together like this. Okay, I'm going to illustrate that in a while, and you're going to go all around. So one disadvantage of working with a circle is that it is wide. You have to have lots of nets to work with the circle base. That's a circular base. Okay, so this is what I was trying to say. You place your ruffle on the tips of the net like so. So you make sure you are controlling that so much, like that, like be in control of it. So I didn't go all the way around because I'm just trying to illustrate that. So you can pull the net to one side and sew close to the one you already sewed before, or you can place it on top like this and sew. Whichever you choose will work, but I prefer to place on top because that's much easier. Depends on how much work you have to do. So if you have enough time or you have hands on deck, you can actually tweak the whole thing, going back and forth. You can do beside, you can do on top, whichever works out for you will actually go a long way to give more effect on the dress. So you can see that cloud effect that we have there. See, so you can still add more. You can still add more to that, but on the normal, I am working with my straight strips so that I can have enough to work with, and I can be able to explain better to you with it. So it's still the normal thing. You place it on the edge like this, okay, and you sew. Now, if you're going to join at the back, you have to leave out your seam allowance for the joining. Very important. But let the net cover up the seam allowance, but you're going to start away from that, your seam allowance, because after joining that back, the net will be stitched back on top of it, and it will not be visible that there's a joining there at all. So I've sewn the first time, and I'm going to sew on it again. Now, this is a plain, like the picture I showed you earlier, the one by the right hand side. This is how to go about it. That's the plain color, one color dress. This is how to go about it. Okay, so you can see I'm trying to place the second time, to place my ruffle the second time on the dress, and now I'm setting it aside. If you don't have time, like I said, you can work with putting it on top. It will still give you good effect. Okay, you can see that. So you can see this is the same color kind of ruffles. Now here is if you want to mix your colors. Now your base have to be the different color and your ruffles will have another color. This is an example to that now. So the same process after doing your gathers with the net and on your strips, you're going to place it on top like that and you keep sewing. So right here, this particular net I am working with on this two color, the two color kind of dress is actually a little bit stronger. Should I say stronger? Just a little bit. It's not as soft as the other net, and I noticed this one responds better to the cloud effect. Like if you pull it to one side, you can see how it's moving. It's actually responding and staying in place compared to the other net I used before, that I used on the other piece of fabric, or piece of net rather. So I am placing again, and I don't just know, maybe because I have all the time, I just keep doing it by the side and pushing to one side, then placing it. Okay. So as you sew, make sure you twist your net to be placed properly, because that's the strips, that the ruffles you've made, they can actually twist around. You know, it's a long strip, so it tends to twist around. So make sure you are straightening it out. You straighten it out when you are working. So you can see the effect of this. This is like the same thing with what I did with the other one, and here I have a better effect. I have more cloud effect. I don't know if you guys know what I'm trying to say, but I noticed the difference between the two nets. Yeah, there are two different nets anyway, but the same color, similar color anyway. So you can see what I'm doing. I'm placing another. You can see that effect that one gave there. Oh god, when you do more of the ruffles on each other, when you place more and more on each other, you get more and more cloud effect. You get more and more ruffle effect. That effect that makes people go, wow, this is so beautiful. Yes, you tend to get it. So you have to get ready to work with lots of nets if you want to do this kind of project, and if you still want to have a very good result. So I've placed that one. I don't have much strip again, so I have to stop there. You can see that, so nice, so beautiful. Can you see that effect? So I went ahead to increase the length of my purple net, because that one was really short, so it can fit properly. So this is my waist. I'm trying to I don't know, increase the height. So this is it. Can you see that? So next thing we're going to do is to run our thread on the waistline. So like I said, you can increase the fullness of your net ×4, ×5, ×6, whichever that works for you can go. Now this is the other one we did. That's the one with the full circle. So it's the same process. Just attach your frills or your gathers on the edge, and you still have the same effect like what we have here. So I'm just running my thread for the gathers. So now if the net seems so tattered or not equal, you can actually trim it down. So yeah, that's the cloud effect, that's the ruffle effect we did. If you feel it's not equal or not maybe not really looking nice, or you want it smaller than what you have, you can trim it down as much as you want it to be. So you can see that effect it gives us. That's almost giving us like the circle that we did earlier. So when you place this on your waist of your dress, you're going to have something like this. You can see that. Okay. Now remember, we are supposed to have the inner net, the bridal satin, and other things under there to push up the net, right? So now the next stage is to create those cloud ruffles on top. So this is what I'm going to do. I am going to measure from my waist down to the point where I want the cloud effect to stop. Then I'll fold my tape like this, like up to half of what we have there. So I folded and I have about 12 inches. So I'm going to mark this out on my my purple net. Now the net I'm working with now has to match with my background. That's my base. So I said we got 12. So of course 12 divided by 2 as I folded, right, is 6. So as I folded, I'm supposed to have 6. So I'm going to create a circle of 6. Now this circle you create will not have a radius, like you're not cutting the inner part. It's just that edge like this that you're going to mark and cut. Okay, I don't know if you got what I just said, but this is what I'm trying to say. This is the only thing you're doing. You're not cutting the inner part. You can see the color matches up with my background. That's what I'm trying to show you there. And you can see I just opened it up and there's no cut at the center. So next we're going to start attaching our ruffles on this circle that we just cut. Yes. So the ruffles, you're going to get them and you're going to attach it at the edge, all around the edge of this circle that we've cut. Now guys, mind you that when you're attaching your ruffle to either the base of the net base or this circle that we're attaching right here, make sure you're running your thread on the thread that formed the gathers. Okay, so back to business. Here I have reached the edge where I started off from. I want to add a double layer, so that's what I'm showing you right here. So the same process, just if you run out of net, don't get scared, just place the net and continue. It won't be visible, it won't show at all. So you're going to keep going all around like that, like I just did, and I've gotten to the edge again. So you can go as much as 3, 4, 5 times, depends on the effect you want to have for what you're making. Okay, so at this point here we are. So you can see the two nets, they don't respond similarly. This one, I don't know, it does not just respond. As I pull it out, it keeps staying where it is. At the point I got tired, but I just have to keep working with it that way. So now we are done. So what you're going to do, this circle we did now, you're going to do as much as 5, 6, depends on how wavy and cloudy you want your dress to turn out to be. So now you've sewn your the base to your lining and the rest. Okay, I just try to cover up my thread so you guys don't get distracted with the thread color and the rest. The colors, you know, there are lots of colors there. So I covered it up so, and I couldn't find a purple what's it called, bridal, that's satin or lining or something. I couldn't find the color that matches this particular purple from the pieces I have. So I have to just work with the net like so, because I wanted you to see that ball effect. So when you add all those things, you're going to have a ball effect also. So this circle we have right here with the frills, okay, is what will form the cloud on the dress. So this is where the magic happens. This is where people go, wow, how was that attached? How was that created? So if you feel that the seam allowance is visible, you can trim it off, trim it totally off and let it not show. Okay. Now, how to attach this is you pinch it like this. You pinch and you pin. When you pinch, you pin. And when you pin it to the waist area, it will be attached later. That waistline plus the net, everything will be attached to the upper bodies and it will stay in place. So it's not going to fall off, okay? So can you see how I'm pinning it down? So you can pin it any point and create the effect you want. Just be creative with it. So this circular frills that we have created, you can make 2, 3, 4, 5 of it to go all around your dress that you're going to make. Yes, because this is what's going to create the cloud effect for your dress. So you can see how I'm pinching again. So you pinch and pin. So you place another, it gives you that effect. People who see it and be like, wow, how was this made? How was it attached? So you're going to make a lot of this circle and keep pinning on the dress, and that's how your cloud effect will be formed. It's quite easy. All you just have to do is have workers or hands on deck to help you out, and you're good to go. So guys, at this point we have come to the end of this video. I hope you have learned a lot from it. Kindly help us subscribe, like and share this video. I'll see you in the next video. Bye bye.